to get ready for the insult to the injury, because a death is a bullet wound.
Wow.
But then you have somebody come and stab you inside of the bullet wound. You don't have to be in the hood,
Right.
To succumb to drug abuse. I had to tell my daughter, hey, and I talk about it in the book detail by detail. Brandon didn't make it. I need for you to safely go from point A to point B. I had to call my son who was in college. I had to tell him the same thing. We got to get rid of the stigma of not going to get help. Because when you roll your ankle, you don't pull out a Bible.
Ooh.
If you look out the wrong window, man, you're gonna be suffering. You're gonna suffer with depression, get in your own mind, your own head.
Yeah.
And sometimes the devil get in your head and you're like, I don't need to live. Well, I gotta live. They say honor your mother. It's not what go on in front of them. What go on, what you also do, honor your parent by doing what they taught you to do when they're not there. It's buried right next to my grandmother.
Wow.
But yeah, I was, my God.
What's going on, family? It's your boy, Anthony ONeal, and I want to share a secret with you. I want to share something with you that I regret not doing sooner. If you've been thinking about getting life insurance, now is the time to act. Let me tell you about my friends over at Ethos, a life insurance company that's making waves with its affordability and ease of access. You can get coverage for as low as $30 a month. My own rate was just around $60 a month. And I spend more than that on food delivery. Let me be honest. I want to give you some quick points of why I love them so much. Number one is their rates and affordability. Imagine paying $30 or $68 a month for a peace of mind. That's less than most of your monthly subscriptions. Number two, ease of use. You can get up to $2 million in coverage without any medical exams or blood tests. Just answer a few quick, healthy questions and you're set. The entire process is 100% online and take less than 10 minutes. Number three, speed. You can get a quote in seconds. You can apply in minutes and have same day coverage. I got my coverage through Ethos literally in 10 minutes and got my thing back quick. Trust and reliability is the last thing I love about them. Ethos has an A+ rating with the BBB and stellar Trustpilot reviews. Every day, around 2,000 families are approved for life insurance through Ethos. Listen, I don't want you to wait. Life insurance rates can increase by 8 to 10% each year you delay. I purchased my policy a few years ago, and if I had waited until now, my price would be significantly higher. Lock in your rate right now and secure your family's future. I want you to visit anthonyoneal.com/ethos to get your free life insurance quote. Apply and get coverage in under 10 minutes. Don't procrastinate. Take control of your future today. What's going on, family? Welcome back to the tape. It's your boy AO, aka Anthony ONeal, and today's episode is a deeply, and I mean this, a deeply personal one. As I sit down with the man who needs absolutely no introduction, a comedian, a radio host, a author, the one and only Rickey Smiley is in the building. You see, in this powerful and emotional conversation, Rickey Smiley opens up about the heartbreaking loss of his dear son, the impact of addiction, and how he's navigating the journey, him and his family, of healing. You see, this interview isn't just about pain, though, and I'm so excited about that because it's also about hope and joy and resilience and the lessons that he shares inside of his brand new book. But before we dive into this amazing show, my dear friend, I want to give a special shout out to today's sponsor, BetterHelp, which I believe is going to be really needed after today's show. If you or someone you know is dealing with grief, addiction, or just needs someone to talk to, BetterHelp can connect you with licensed professionals today from the comfort of your home. Listen, we're going to give you some more information about them a little bit later on in today's show. But I mean this. As you're watching this show, if you're feeling something come up, I need you to click that link in today's show notes and get into therapy. And we're also going to talk about that a little bit later today with my dear friend. Now listen, before we get in, one last thing to today's show. If this conversation speaks to you, do me a favor. Please hit that thumbs up. Please join our E3 family by subscribing, whether you're watching this on YouTube or whether you are listening to this on podcast. We are close to 800,000 subscribers just on YouTube alone, and we're already hitting about 150,000 downloads per show on podcast. And our mission and our goal is to get to 1 million E3 community members who are evolving in 3 key areas: abundance, wellness, and freedom. And I want you to be a part of this family. So please subscribe. And also share this episode with someone who needs it today. Y'all, let's get real. Let's get into it. Let's dive in. Welcome to the table for the first time, and definitely not the last time, my dear friend, Rickey Smiley.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Just to watch you throughout the last year has just been, I've learned so much from you. You know, without even knowing you personally, I was like, man, how he dealt with, you know, your son transitioning. I was like, he's still joyful. He's still doing a show and impacting lives and going through the loss. I want to talk about that because you have a lot of people who may not have lost a son or a loved one, but they maybe lost a job. They may have lost, you know, something like a relationship, but they allowed the loss to really pretty much change their whole life. How did you stay so joyful and so impactful during that season?
Yeah, what happens is, man, you just have to totally lean on God. You know what I'm saying? When you can, and I'm not talking about lean in a situation like that, man, like he pretty much was carrying me because there's no way, it wasn't no leaning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You lean on God if your dryer don't work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there's going to be some times, some trials, and some tribulations that's going to come when he's going to have to literally carry you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just got to get, and not just while him carrying you, got to get wrapped up in his arms and wrapped up in his love.
Yeah.
You know, because everything that we've been taught our whole life, that our pastor's been ministering to us.
Yeah.
You know, he will give you peace that surpasses all. You never think about any of that stuff until you actually go through it, and that's when you really need it.
Yes, sir.
But sometimes we forget to use it.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's just like the poems that you had to learn when you pledged and Victus and see it through and if or whatever. But then when you go through those trials and tribulations, that's what those poems are for. You understand? You have to go back to what you was taught in your Christian training.
Yes, sir.
And you have to use it.
Yes, sir.
And that's how you find joy. You have to go out and seek it and find joy, because it's like looking out of a window. Which window are you gonna look out of?
Yeah.
Which perspective you gonna take? Are you gonna look out this window, you thinking about the loss?
Yeah.
There's my son laying there, in a casket, or my son is going to a better place.
Ooh.
I got to move on with my life. God will give you double for your trouble. God will give you peace that surpasses all understanding. That's what the book is about.
Yeah.
Just giving you some different perspectives to look out of, because if you look out the wrong window, man, you're going to be suffering.
Yes,
you're going to suffer with depression, get in your own mind, your own head.
Yeah.
And sometimes the devil get in your head, and you're like, I don't need to live. Well, I got to live.
Yeah.
I have another son that's still living. I have a daughter. I have grandkids.
Yeah.
So I have fans, people that, so you have to, you just have to find that joy.
Yeah. When you got that call, how did you respond? Because I remember when you posted about it, your post, I was feeling so sorry for you and your family for your loss, but then also that post and how you responded encouraged me. And I was like, well, how did he muster up that energy? You said you fell on God, he carried you. But then also I saw you take this addiction story and journey, and you became an advocate of just really being vocal about that on your platform.
Yeah.
How has that been received, and what made you even go that way?
Well, you have to lead.
Yes, sir.
I had to make that announcement, and I had to, but before I did that, I got on the phone and I called each and every last one of my kids and my mother. Okay? I had to tell my daughter, hey, and I talk about it in the book detail by detail, Brandon didn't make it. I need for you to safely go from point A to point B. I had to call my son who was in college. I had to tell him the same thing. Call me, and they was calm. I said, I need y'all to be calm because I need you to make it safe. I need everybody to go home.
Wow.
Stop what you're doing. Come home right now. Do you understand? So I talked to him like that.
Okay.
I said, do you understand? He said, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My daughter said, yes, sir. Called my youngest daughter. She was crying hysterically or whatever, and I had to later get her a flight. Then I had to call my mother, who was actually with my son, but she was outside in the lobby of the ER. So I had to call her from Dallas, Texas to tell her that he didn't make it.
She didn't know.
She didn't know, but she was there waiting to see him.
Wow.
So I had to call her. I had to tell my mother that.
Wow.
And then I had to do all of this, and then I had to make a video on live, letting the people know and the fans know that he had passed away, because my son was a comedian also. Mm-hmm. My son had fans himself. Mm-hmm. And so I had to do that. And once I did that, that's when I was like, God, if you could help me get from the front door to the elevator, I can make it.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to really lean on God, because now my emotions are starting to stir.
Yes, sir.
When I got the news or whatever, I felt my heart like drop, from my chest to the bottom of my feet, like something I never felt before.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to die.
Yeah.
And so when I made it from the front door to the elevator and got on the elevator, I felt like once I got on the elevator, I said, okay, I think I got it.
Okay.
If I can just get through the day.
Yes, sir.
Then the next day, if I can get through the day, then at Wednesday, I was like, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go do my morning show. Mm-hmm. Either I'm gonna lay in bed and repeat everything and all the anxiety or whatever, or I'm gonna go over here and do this morning show, because their kids died also.
Yes, sir.
It's not about you.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Mm-hmm. It's a single mother in Chicago and Detroit and Nashville and Fort Lauderdale that have to bury their kid. And a lot of them don't even have the resources to even bury their kids. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? I found out so much stuff and talked to so many people that have lost their kids. Wow. Whose situation was way worse than mine. I don't have to go to court.
Right.
And that's what I talk about in the book, the glimmers of hope.
Yes, sir.
The little small angels. Well, I don't have to go to court.
Wow.
I don't have to face my son's murderer. My son didn't have gunshot wounds and bullet wounds and this, that, and the other, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you thank God for that, because right when you think you have it bad, I had a person that said they lost their only child. Mm. That was the other night at the MGM when I performed. Mm. I stepped out the stage and I was talking about the book at the end of the show. And I stood there and I hugged everybody that wanted a hug. Mm. I had so many women walk up to me and say, I lost my daughter. Mm. I lost my son. Mm. We support you. We love you. We thank you. And they just hugged, and the lady said, I lost my only daughter, my only child. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why you have to do stuff like this, because it's not about you.
Yeah.
I tell the story. It's a scripture-based book.
Yes, sir.
And it'll give you a lot of hope and inspiration. And it also addresses therapy.
I love this book, and we are going to link this book inside of today's show notes. And this book will be a New York Times bestseller, because I feel as if Rickey's heart and his soul is in this book. And I think a lot of us need this book, because you were vulnerable and honest in this book. That I don't know too many parents, especially a celebrity like yourself, will be this open, and I want to thank you for that. I have a godmother going through something similar right now. Her son is still alive.
And high risk.
High risk, not for drugs, but for alcohol addiction.
Sure.
And just was in the hospital the other day. Mm-hmm. Doctor told him, if you continue drinking, you're going to have a very slow death. And he gets out of the hospital and he's drunk again within a matter of 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Inside of this book, you talk about supporting individuals who are going through this. What would you say to that mother, to that father, that their child is still living, but you see this addiction, they see this addiction things? What are the things that they should be doing? Because you have some people who are saying, leave that kid alone and just let him go.
Yeah.
And you have some saying, you got to just love him and pray him through this. What would you say in this situation?
Yeah, you definitely have to pray, but at the same time, you have to go out and try to seek help. You have Narcotics Anonymous, you have Alcoholic Anonymous. Go to the meeting with them. But the only thing is, you know, they have to be willing to do it themselves. They have to want it. And you can't want it more than them. And you know, and I could see my dad died like this.
Wow. Yeah.
See, I connect my dad's death. It's crazy because I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But when I hear songs from the 70s, I think about my son's death. My son wasn't born in the 70s. I was raised by my granddad.
Okay. Okay.
I saw my granddad bury his son.
Wow.
Which was my dad.
Wow.
And so look in the mirror, I see my grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? So I heard a Curtis Mayfield song yesterday, and it was so triggering. It set me off. I cried all day yesterday, walking up and down. I think I was whatever hotel I was in, walking up and down the street. I could not stop crying to save my life once I heard that Curtis Mayfield. And it took my son all the way back to 1974. My son was born in 90.
Yeah.
I watched my grandparents suffer through that. And when my son died, I became him.
Yep.
I became my grandfather.
Yeah.
And I remember my grandfather trying to protect the whole family and trying to, you know, make sure everybody was straight. My grandfather walked around at the funeral home shaking hands.
Wow.
Thank you for coming.
Wow.
And I was sitting there as a 6-year-old kid, like, wow, my grandfather see me is all about me.
Right.
And he going around shaking hands. I was confused.
Right.
And I found myself
doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing.
Wow.
And it gets really deep into the details.
Yeah.
And I remember my grandfather said that he was standing right there in the morgue when they brought my dad's body in, and guess where I was standing?
Right there.
I was waiting. I was standing right there when they rolled my son in the door, and I stood there and took it like a man. You know, I took it like a man. It ain't about manhood or anything like that. That's the last thing I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you understand? And I talk about all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but hell, I forgot what the question was.
Man, I'm over here emotional just thinking about you standing right there in the morgue when your son comes in, because I'm like, how does a father deal with that?
Yeah, your job is, sometimes manhood takes over.
Yeah.
And your job is to make sure everything goes right, make sure everything is done right. This is going to be the last thing that you get to do for your son.
For your son.
And I had to stand there like a soldier.
Yeah.
You know, so I got it's a lot of details in the book when I talk about all of that. It was just a story that needed to be told. And the book is scripture-based also.
You know, and however you want to answer this, please answer it that way, the way you want to answer it. But, you know, some people, did you feel like you failed your son when you saw that? And I ask this question because some parents feel like, I raised him right, we raised him in the church, we did all this. What did I do wrong for their child to go astray? And I remember when I raised up in a Church of God in Christ home, God-fearing parents.
Mm-hmm.
But when I left home, I made those decisions of what came next. And I became homeless. And I remember my mom and dad asking themselves, what did we do wrong? And I'm like, y'all didn't do nothing wrong. I just made the decisions for myself. What would you say to parents who may be going through something similar to you, watching their kids going through these addictions, making their own decisions that could eventually take their lives, and they're saying, you know what, did I do something wrong as a family? Did I fail them? What would you say to that father? To that?
Don't feel guilty about anything. Parenting don't come with a handbook. You understand? I think 99%, especially us Christians that grew up in the black church, I think we did the best we could.
Yes, sir.
With what we had. If I have any regrets, I probably coddled him too much.
Oh.
I was tough on the rest of the kids. The rest of the kids, I was in their face, got in trouble. For some reason, I just coddled him.
Was he the oldest?
He's the oldest. So by him being the firstborn, hugs, kisses,
all of it.
All of that kind of stuff. He was tough. I had him tough.
Yeah.
But I probably coddled him, did way more for him than I did the rest of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was young. We was on a plane, driving to the beach, riding roller coaster. That was our thing, roller coaster.
Yes, sir.
We was going all over the country riding roller coasters. Went to Busch Gardens every year.
Six Flags.
Six Flags, Scream Machine.
Yes, sir.
The Batman, the Sheikra, the Mantu, the Kumba, those are roller coasters. The Hulk in Orlando, we was riding all of the roller coasters. I got so many pictures with us on roller coasters. You know, when you go by that camera, take that picture.
Yes, sir.
A lot of pictures.
Wow.
Of us riding roller coasters, probably calling him too much, but I was on him. And when he got a certain age, once I dropped him off at Alabama State, hey, you ate good.
Yes, sir.
You were taken to church.
Yes, sir.
I talked to you every single night about everything I was supposed to talk to you about. It's your life.
Wow.
I remember taking him off to college. It was just me and him driving to Alabama State University, listening to Biggie and Tupac. We partied all the way down there, just me and him, and car packed up with stuff.
Yes, sir.
And went in there and set him up in his room, and that was that. And it's your life. And I think that to be perfectly honest, he made bad decisions that eventually cost him his life. You know what I'm saying? I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. His mother, he has a wonderful mother, wonderful stepdad. They don't drink and smoke. You understand? They don't do any of that stuff. They good people. Yeah. And you know, those are decisions that he made. Yeah. And I had this conversation with him. I said, something happened to you, you're gonna affect the rest of your family for the rest of their lives. You can't be selfish. We had a reality show for 6 years. It's interviews with my son and I having this conversation. Wow. That's you know, so if anything, coddled him too much. But I was on him.
Yeah, yeah. How are you and your other children right now, and his amazing mother and stepfather? How are you all coming together and healing throughout this process?
Yeah, my kids we are really close.
Yes, sir.
Especially my youngest son, because he deals with depression
Okay.
and stuff. So I have to kind of be on him.
Okay.
Check in with him a lot.
Yes, sir.
More. I don't know how they are dealing with the grief process. My oldest daughter has taken it pretty hard.
Okay.
My youngest daughter, I think she's fine.
Okay.
You know, my son has a daughter as well. You know, I have a granddaughter. It's just kind of been tough on everybody. But you know, the family seemed to be getting through. But lately, it's been kicking my butt because I'm doing interviews. So I'm talking about this or whatever. So it's triggering. So let's say like today, we do this interview.
Yeah.
So I got to get on the plane.
Yeah.
I'll probably get on the plane and cry all the way home.
Wow.
Because what it does is it opens it up, which is fine.
Right.
Because crying helps.
Yes, sir.
You're supposed to cry.
Yes, sir.
It's like popping the cap off of a pressure cooker.
Yes, sir.
You got to release the steam because you don't want to explode.
Yes, sir.
So crying is good. It is okay to cry.
Yes, sir.
You know, what was the question?
Man, just asking, how are you and your family healing processing?
Yeah, we're doing good. I'm in therapy twice a week. I need everybody to go to therapy.
Well, you're in therapy 2 times a week?
Twice a week, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, at one point I was twice a week, but for this book tour or whatever, but I'm going back. I'm gonna definitely have to go back because I'm on book tour talking about, you know, the loss of my son and stuff and other losses. So I had to get back in therapy because I'm reliving it again.
Yes, sir.
And we got to get rid of the stigma of not going to get help Because when you roll your ankle, you don't pull out a Bible.
Ooh.
Right?
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm loving this.
Yeah, when your rotator cuff mess up, you don't
pull out a Bible.
you don't go to
You may pray, but you ain't pulling out your Bible.
You're not.
You going straight to the hospital.
Straight to the hospital.
Come on now.
But why we want to go? The brain is what? A muscle.
Yes, sir.
Just like your ankle.
Yes, sir.
Why we don't go and get help for our mind?
Yes, sir.
Get somebody to help you process those feelings.
Yes, sir.
So you won't, because if you go in a state of depression,
Yeah.
then it start triggering off other organs in the body,
Yes.
and some people just go downhill
Yeah.
after somebody died.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how this works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can pray. God created therapists.
Yes,
I talk about that in the book also. You have to go and get the help. I don't care if you're joining a grief group.
Yeah.
Get around other people that have suffered a loss so they can identify with what you're feeling and what you're going through.
Why do you think within our community and culture, why is therapy so frowned upon?
Just a stigma. Our black folks say if you go to therapy, you crazy.
Right.
That come all the way from the 70s.
Yeah.
And then, that was something that a lot of our folks couldn't afford to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I've been going to therapy since I was a kid. I was ADHD, couldn't pay attention. And silly cracking jokes, hit my head up against the wall. I thought I was Superman about to jump off a two-story balcony at my auntie house. I got a whipping for that.
Yes, sir.
And tied a towel around. I'm talking about I'm finna fly.
Wow.
To
Wow.
all that stuff.
Wow.
Or whatever. My grandma said, yeah, you need to go get him some help.
I'm the same way as you. I am in therapy as well 2 times a month. And my philosophy is I think there's a little crazy in everybody. But we have to learn how do we tame that craziness? How do we tame that thing that is unhealthy inside of us?
Right.
Because what I don't want to do is not tame it, not know how to control it, and then something flares it off, and then now I make a dumb decision. I make do something crazy. And I think that there's nothing wrong with admitting, like, hey, we all have something that's a little off. How do we, if we know that, we now know how to control it.
Right.
And I know for me, I'm not a argumentative person, but I can be. And if I am that person, I'm not gonna like that person.
Right.
So let me go to therapy just to continue learning, to continue evolving, continue growing. And then even as well, when something, which I think all of us are going to lose somebody.
Sure.
When that does happen, we would then know how to control that a little bit better.
Absolutely. And you better get ready for the insult to the injury. Because a death is a bullet wound.
Wow.
But then you have somebody come and stab you inside of the bullet wound. Right? Because after the death, you're already going through a grief process.
Yes, sir.
You got to deal with a crazy aunt,
Yeah.
a crazy cousin, or somebody because you become so sensitive. Little stuff starts setting you off. The week of the funeral. Well, where's she at? Well, why they aren't coming? Well, why are they coming? Well, why are they, like, everything irritates you.
Yeah.
Man, I mentioned this, I can't remember what chapter. I was just so determined to not make this about me. The Wednesday after I got off the air, I got my son clothes together, put it in the car to take to the funeral home. I went by the Salvation Army to serve the homeless with my son clothes in the car. And that was the worst day of the whole week because it was dark that day. It was darker than the day it was when I found out. I flew back through a storm. The turbulence was so bad on the airplane flying from Dallas to Birmingham. And that was the only time I had that kind of turbulence. That was the worst flight I ever had and was not scared because I didn't care if I died that day.
You didn't care.
I didn't care. That plane was lipping, dropping, twisting, turning, wind was blowing, never had no clarity. And I just sat on the front row with my legs crossed and I was talking to a gentleman behind me. He was showing me pictures in his phone because he had just came from a family reunion.
Wow.
And I think that was God keeping my mind occupied.
Yes, sir.
And I was just I never told that man what I was dealing with. But I was just being nice to him because I was happy for him.
Yes, sir.
I was happy that he had some happiness.
Yeah.
I'm sitting over here knowing what I got to face when I get home. I got to comfort my mother. I got to comfort my other kids. I got to see a body.
Yeah.
I had to see my son's body.
Yeah.
But I had to put that aside and be happy.
For him.
Happy for him. He was just glad to see me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if he would have known, he would have been praying for me, but he didn't know.
Absolutely.
You know.
And I'm sure that once he did find out after you went public, he probably prayed and just.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened in the airport. A couple asked for a picture, and I just kind of brought them in.
Yes, sir.
And just kind of whispered to them what had happened.
Yes, sir.
And man, they hugged me so tight, man. Said, Rick, go to your gate, Rick. We praying for you, Rick.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'll never forget that. And then a lady prayed for me when I was going down the little tunnel to get on the plane.
Yes, sir.
Because I had whispered to her, you know, because she was excited.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, because she was a member of my church in Dallas.
Gotcha.
Friendship West.
Oh, okay.
So she got in there, she grabbed both my hand before I got on that plane. And that lady prayed for me, man. That lady stopped that flight and she prayed for me. And I quietly walked on that plane in that front row.
Yes, sir.
On the aisle was available. I sat right there. Wow. That was the only seat that was left. And that's where I usually like to sit.
Yes, sir.
And it'd be moments like that, like when I say God send little angels, and it'd be little moments like that. But I was feeding a homeless man, and I'll never forget, man, the despair. I needed to see the despair on other folks' faces also going through something.
Wow.
And all these people, man, they don't have no radio, no TV. These people like, hey, Rick, man, we heard about your son, man. Sorry about your son, Rick. I said, hey, man, I lost my son, too. While trying to get a hot dog, a handful of chips, and a slice of cake, and a little cup of punch.
Wow.
And I'm just serving.
He's just serving.
Thunder and the lightning, dark outside. I go out, jump in my Jeep, get on the highway to go to the funeral home. The wind blowing, trucks blowing, mist up.
On your windshield.
You can't see how to drive.
Nothing.
Thought I was gonna die in. Only to get to the funeral home and go in the funeral home and they outside shooting.
They outside shooting.
Outside shooting.
In the
at the gas station across the street from the funeral. I actually laughed at that. I was like, well, I said, y'all must really be trying to get some more beer. So we laughed about that. I'm like, we here making funeral record there. We had the gas station. I never shared that, and I don't think I talked about that in the book.
Yo.
I think I forgot to talk.
Yo, wait. They're trying to get more business.
Bruh, we in there trying to pick out an obituary. It was laying on the floor 5 minutes later.
I want to laugh about something like that.
God, it is God's way of showing humor.
Yes, sir.
In the midst when you needed that really lighten the mood because you was able to crack a couple of jokes or whatever. But yeah, man, I get down there and that was a dark day. Mm-hmm. And then to leave there and go home. People at the house, I'll never forget the look on my other kids' faces and just how they was dealing with all of that stuff. It was tough.
What's going on, family? Hey, this show is sponsored by my friends at BetterHelp. This is Anthony ONeal here with a quick question. What are your self-care non-negotiables? You know those things you never skip, no matter how packed your schedule is? Maybe for you, it's leg day at the gym, or even more crucial, therapy day. When life gets hectic with your projects, kids' activities, and a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to let your own priorities slide. Even when you know what makes us happy, it can be hard to carve out the time. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, that's when non-negotiables like therapy become more important than ever. If you're thinking about starting therapy, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's all online, making it super convenient and flexible, fitting right into your busy schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and you'll be matched with a licensed therapist who is right for you. And if you feel like you're not clicking, hey, check this out. You can switch therapists at any time with no extra cost. Therapy isn't just for those who faced major trauma in the past. It's also a great tool for those learning positive coping skills, setting boundaries, and becoming the best version of yourself. Thousands of people have found value in it. Just check out their reviews. So never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/AO today to get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/AO. Take control of your mental health and make time for you. You deserve it. During these seasons, you learn a lot about people. How important is it to have, with you being a celebrity, how is it important to have your true core friends
Oh my God.
in your life? Because everybody's praying for you. Everyone knows who you are. Everyone is like, yo, but how was, like, did you have friends? You mentioned Friendship West, one of my favorite preachers, Bishop Freddie Haynes. Like, man can preach with no Bible in front of him.
Right.
I'm just like, I want that. It's like, so you have these people around you, but how important is it to go to the people to where you don't have to be the world's Rickey Smiley? You can be you. Did you have anyone like that?
Yeah, my pastor was there that day. I remember my pastor being there. I had some high school friends there. I had some, my mom and everybody was there. My next door neighbor was ordering food and walking it over there, concerned. I'll never forget the look on her face. It was, I had some people, I had some guys, some of my Little League football teammates. You know, I had a Little League football teammate, Nathaniel, his son had got killed some years ago. Kevin was like my little nephew. And it was just good to have somebody that you in the huddle with. I remember looking at his face through my face mask and his face mask, us being in the huddle together, Little League football, sitting right there, a grown man on the couch with you, sitting next to you on the couch, you know, just coming to see about you.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, Rick, I'm your friend. We go back to elementary school. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
You was there for me when my son died.
Yeah.
And then now, he's there for you.
Yeah.
And that stuff is just, I'll never,
That was, yeah.
bring tears to my eyes. I think about Bishop Walker and
Yeah.
Pastor Haynes and all of the pastors that was reaching out, all of my friends, you know, mentor, you know, Martin, and all the celebrities.
Wow.
Everybody was nice. Everybody was kind.
Yeah.
Everybody sent their regards with respect for the hundreds and hundreds of text messages I was trying to respond.
Yeah.
You know, to everybody. And it meant so much to me. It gave me so much strength. And forget about that. After walking through Atlanta airport, was here. Because I had people walking up to me, hugging me. I had people walk up to me and wouldn't say a word. And they just hug you. And they just walk off. And you can tell that they probably went through the same thing, but they don't want to say anything,
Right.
because they might get emotional. I had so many women hug me real tight, and they just walk off. They just say, I can't.
Yeah.
And you already know.
You already know.
Had a lady step out of line, TSA, we were standing in line going through TSA. She stepped out of line. She said, I want you to know I know exactly how you feel. She said, I lost my daughter. And we hugging, and all the black people standing in line knew exactly why we were hugging. I think that black folks can sense that stuff.
Yes, sir.
And just show you how people was there for you. I was in Home Goods.
Home Goods.
Paying for something. Lady asked me for my credit card. It was around Easter, and I just broke down and started crying. And the black lady behind the counter came around. And at that point, a lady that says she's a first lady at her church, she came in and they politely took me over to a corner in that store. And let me, and they was praying, wiping my face. I was just having, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Lady asked me for my credit card. I gave it to her. I looked outside, and I was wiped out. I don't know what happened. Like that kind of stuff. On the plane, how flight attendants, some dude was a flight attendant, and I think he could sense I was crying because I had my head in my lap, and he just stuck his hand in between my arms because I was folded up real tight.
Yeah.
And he just forced his hand and had a handful of tissue.
And just gave it.
Put the tissue in her face, and he just kept going. Just knew what you needed. Like, people
Yeah.
could sense stuff.
Yes, sir.
And I just thank God for all the people that was sensitive, the flight attendants that had to rock me in the airport, because you're trying to work because the bills don't stop coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You book, you still got to perform. You don't want people to lose money. You know, I can go up on stage I can get through 45 minutes, 50 minutes,
Right.
and do some comedy. I have to cry all the way
Right.
till I'm being introduced, blow my nose, get myself together, and go on stage, get these jokes, come on stage, and go back to the hotel room and cry
some
if
more.
I need to. But most of the time, I got it all out.
Yeah.
So it's just been a lot of people that was there for you. And then you find out a lot of things about a lot of people with a death, good and bad.
Yes, sir.
Some of the bad stuff, some people show how they really feel about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There are people that you didn't have a good relationship.
Yeah.
Now you have a relationship with them because through your time, the trials and tribulation, they was there for you, whether it was a text message, I love you, God bless you. All of that out the window. Then there was some that didn't text or call at all that actually had a relationship with my son.
Wow.
And it's always in the back of your mind, and you think about it. Knew my son, had a relationship with my son. We've supported them and their kids.
Yeah.
Not one call and not phone. I don't.
And how do you feel about that, though?
It bother you, but then it don't bother you. That's what make you special.
Yes, sir.
I had to explain that to my granddaddy. Everybody ain't like you.
Yes, sir.
Some people, I was raised a certain way with class to go and see about people
Yeah.
or to extend some kind of something to people when they're going through
Yeah.
trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
And everybody don't have that. Everybody don't have those tools.
Yeah.
Then maybe some people just didn't know what to say and they just don't say nothing or don't address it at all.
Yeah.
So they just don't say nothing. But it's weird though.
Yes, sir.
And you wonder,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
For the parents who are looking at their child right now, and their child just doesn't want to, they don't want to change. At what point do you just say,
let me say this to the kids.
there you go?
Let me say this to the kids.
Yeah, talk to that camera right there.
Listen, and I'm saying this as a son who lost a dad, and I'm saying this also as a dad
Who lost a son?
who lost a son, right? The Bible says, honor your mother and your father that your days may be long. And when they say honor your mother, it's not what go on in front of them. What go on, what you also do, honor your parent by doing what they taught you to do when they're not there.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't know too many people got killed with their parents there. You understand? God look at this. And if you get yourself in a position where God take his hands off you, man, you messed up. If you have a mother, if you have grandparents, man, that think enough of you, you know what you're supposed to do. You know what you're not supposed to be doing. And we don't want to destroy nobody's memory or whatever. But the things that we did, our generation did to have a good time, y'all generation is dying from it.
Sure.
You can't take a pill. You can't drink nothing. Fentanyl has made it into vapes.
Oh, my gosh.
Fentanyl has made its way into marijuana.
Yes, sir.
I knew a mother that told me a week after my son died, her son smoked, took one hit and went straight back. And that was the end. And there's a lot of y'all are out here losing your lives. And it ain't just about you losing your life. What I want every single young person that's watching this to think about right now, before you take that pill, before you smoke, before you drink that lean or anything, forget about yourself. Put two holes in that casket where you can look at that front row and imagine what that front row gonna look like. And you say you love your mother. Why would you do this to her? Why would you do this to your mom and your dad? And a lot of y'all have your grandmothers in your life. You think you ain't heard no cry until you hear the cry of a grandmother. Yeah, you hear a scream of a mother. But when a grandmother break down and cry, at her old age, in her 70s and her 80s, and got to cry to bury a grandchild that she raised, how do you think about all of that before you decide that you're gonna take a pill to get high or to feel good or to relax? The risk. Because it's bad pills out there, it's bad stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? I lost a nephew that was 32, I lost a niece that was 32. My pastor daughter died when she was 32, and my son died when he was 32. I had to go to all of these funerals, all these all these people died. And I remember looking down on that front row, watching my grandparents cry like they did. I'd never forget it. I'm in therapy for that. I'm in therapy for the way it made me feel when my grandparents was crying like that. April the 11th, 1974. I hadn't even got to the part about my son yet. I'm in therapy for watching my grandparents grieve, watching how that affected my grandparents. That upset me more than anything. That's why when I say I hear anything from the 70s, it's a trigger. Because I become him in the 70s, burying his son.
Which is your dad.
Which is my dad. And I end up going through the same thing. So if I hear anything by Marvin Gaye or Curtis Mayfield,
go back.
I go back, but my mind tricked me and make me think that that's my son, and I become my granddad. And that's how I tie it all together. That's why this book is so good and so unique, because I tie it all together in the book.
And you said something which I pray that y'all who are listening and watching this show hear, because some of you all have a drinking problem, a smoking problem. Let's just put all that aside. You have an addiction that you think is only impacting you, but it's not only impacting you, it's impacting you and everyone who loves you. And watch this, not just everyone who loves you, but everyone who is around you, who knows you. And I have and I'm trying to say it respectfully because it's not public, but I have someone in my extended family that their decision is impacting me and I don't see them every single day.
Sure.
But because it's impacting my mom, who's that's their relative, that's their son, I get the call. I hear the hurt. And I feel the pain because of one decision. And your addiction may not be drugs or alcohol. Your addiction could be gambling. And you're coming home and now your family is stressed because they have no money to survive. Whatever that addiction is, it doesn't just impact you. And Rickey said something that was so good. Man, put 2 holes through that casket.
And look through it.
And you know, that's convicting to me. Because it's like, man, before you make a decision, put 2 holes through that casket and see how is this decision going to impact others.
That's why I worked so hard to make it, man. I just wanted to make my grandparents smile.
Wow.
I wanted to give them double for what they lost. And for them to look up and watch Comic View and watch their grandson come out on TV every night looking just like his dad, that was the best thing I could have ever done for them. Yeah. I'm just saying that on the side.
Yeah.
Personally, that's why one of my grinds was I wanted to make my grandparents happy and proud.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Have they ever told you that they're happy and proud of you?
Oh, yeah. Before, man, I was real close to my grandparents. They all dead and gone.
Yeah.
My son is actually buried right next to my grandmother.
Wow.
But yeah, I was my God. Yeah, I was definitely able to make them proud. Try to make something happen for them. And I would just hope and pray that all you kids out there, if you get an opportunity, and parents, if you watch them, show this to your teenage kid. Let them know that that's not the right way to go. You know, ain't nothing wrong with decency, nothing wrong with discipline,
right? Nothing
wrong with respect, nothing wrong with the structure. To go out here and try to make something happen for yourself.
Yeah.
And don't put your parents through this. Because now, you know, my whole life has changed. Yeah. Just a different person now.
Yeah.
You know, the anxiety, you know, the butterfly. I was like, how the hell my granddaddy getting through this? You know, my granddaddy went to work every day. And, you know, he would rarely talk about it. When he got older, when I got grown, he talked more about it.
Yes, sir.
Or whatever. But just make sure you respect, if you don't read nothing else, remember, honor your mother and your father that your days may be long.
Yeah.
And honor is whatever you do when they're not around. You're honoring They say don't do certain things, don't do certain things. Be kind, be loving, be respectful, or whatever, because you only get one mother. You only get one father. If your father or your mother is in your life, do the right thing and make your parents proud. Don't take them through that. They don't want to see you get laid off the jail in handcuffs, and they definitely don't want to see you sit there in that chair up under that tent and watch that casket go down.
Yeah. I want to thank you for your message and you being honest. I don't really see a lot of men saying, I cried. I don't see a lot of men saying, you know what, I stepped up to the plate, I had to do what I had to do, but then when I got done doing what I had to do, I just cried. And to hear you share the balance of, hey, I had to do what I had to do, but when I was done doing that, man, I would just ball up and I would just cry, I would just weep. And I think that we need to hear that, because I think a lot of men feel as if men don't cry.
Yeah.
And thank you for putting your family's journey in a book that I believe is going to save other families.
Thank you.
That I believe is going to convict other people from making bad decisions. I believe this show is going to convict. And as a matter of fact, this is what I want to do. If you're watching this on YouTube and someone in your family, whether that's you, whether that's someone in your family, is going through something through an addiction, whether that's addiction with money, drugs, alcohol, you name it, I want you to put just their first name, not the last name, just their first name inside the comment section. And I'm going to be praying over each and every single name that the enemy will flee and that God will step in and intervene. Because while I can't relate to what our brother is going through, I pray that I don't have to, but things are looking like I may be going through something similar. And I just believe that if you're watching this and you know who you are, bro, that I hope that you heard Rickey's heart. I hope that you heard his words. I hope that you know that your family loves you. Your mom and dad loves you. Your extended family loves you. And for anyone who's watching this, because one thing I heard this particular individual in my family say, Rickey, he said, the reason why I'm doing this is because no one loves me. So I drink because why not? You don't love me, God don't love me, this person don't love me. And I'm like, wait, yes, we do. And I want to say this, you are loved. If you're watching this, you are loved. And I just really want to say that. Because now after this, I just got to make a phone call.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hold up, man. I got to make a phone call because I want this particular person in my family to know they are loved.
Yeah.
And I already know what will happen if this person was to go to that extent. I don't know health-wise if their parents will make it through.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, man, your decisions impact so many people. And I hate to say this, I just hear it in the spirit.
But at the same time, man, it's got to be some accountability.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes you're going to have a little bit of tough love because you can't allow them to affect the other kids.
Yes, sir.
Like the yellow leaf, sometimes if it gets to a point, the yellow leaf have to be plucked off.
Yes, sir.
In order to keep the other leaves green.
Yeah.
They start affecting the other leaves.
Yeah.
As a man, as a leader, sometimes you have to get in a space where you have to protect the ones that's buying what you're teaching.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do all you can.
Yes, sir.
But it can't come right in here.
Can't.
And it can't affect
Right.
the rest of because you got too much invested in your other kids also.
Sir. Yes, sir.
And sometimes you just have to protect them. And it sounds mean, it sounds crazy, but you can't. If Pookie in a gang and they're looking for Pookie to kill him,
Yeah.
Pookie can't stay at the house.
Facts.
Because when they come shoot up the house,
Yes, sir.
everybody that don't have nothing to do with what Pookie did
Yes, sir.
is going to suffer some consequences
Yes, sir.
for something that they had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
You see, you understand what I'm saying? That analogy?
Yes, sir.
And I know that's a crazy analogy, but they didn't do nothing.
Facts.
Why are they catching bullets?
Right. Right. No, that's good.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but we got to keep our young people lifted up in prayer, and make sure that y'all get that book, and I hope you enjoy it.
No, man, listen, y'all gonna get this book. We're gonna put this book link inside of today's show notes, and I promise you will enjoy this book. And as a matter of fact, I want you to don't just buy this book for yourself, but buy this book for someone else who may be going through something similar, and bless them with this book.
And the topic sideshow comes from, you know where that comes from?
Nah.
Let the sideshow begin. Hurry, hurry.
Yes, sir.
Step right on in.
Yes, sir.
Can't afford to pass it by.
Wow.
Guaranteed to make you cry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. About a clown that's performing.
Yes, sir.
Sad on the inside. Sideshow.
Yeah, man. I love it. When it comes to comedy, last question for you. How has doing what you do as a career, how has it helped you throughout this journey?
I've been more focused because I have to fight so hard to be funny, so I'm just a lot more focused. I've been writing a lot more. I've just been coming up with stuff. It's been a good outlet.
Yes, sir.
So I've really been enjoying stand-up comedy, man, and writing jokes and making people laugh and doing karaoke, which I love doing, and I'm just trying to have fun.
Yes, sir.
Or whatever, because those are the things that keep you going and keep you alive and keep doing things. Find things that you like to do.
Yes, sir.
Find things that you like to do, and it get you out of that cycle of sadness and depression or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it gives you strength. You know, that, some good church, some good teaching or whatever. Just go hard on the things that's positive in your life. Your ministry, good teaching in church, comedy, laugh.
Yeah.
Go to Facebook, go to Instagram. Follow me on Facebook, because I'm always putting silly stuff on there.
You are.
All the time to just kind of keep everybody laughing and light.
Yes, sir.
Even when the burdens is heavy, I'm still posting light stuff because I just want people to be happy.
Yes, sir.
So that's important.
Yes, sir. It is, man. Well, listen, Rickey, we thank you so much for coming by the table, man. This is your first time, definitely not the last time, you guys. We're going to put his information inside of today's show notes where you can get a book. He's out on tour, even doing some other stuff to promote the book. So we're going to put the website on there so that way if he's in your city doing an event, doing a show, y'all go check him out. This man he uses his platform to uplift everybody. He's had me on the show a couple of times to promote former books. And so I had to extend the invite for him to come and do this because he uses his platform to make us laugh, to really help build other people up. And so let's return the favor and let's get this book to New York Times bestseller. So buy a copy, buy 2 of them, and we'll see you on the next show. Peace out.